Never ever want to make the mistake of telling someone they can't do something. When I was at school, the head teacher took my parents aside and said, "Look, I think your son's not really fit to even sit our general maths exam." The boy that was told he's not fit is then excelling in one of the highest disciplines.
What shifted for you?
For me, it was...
Craig Brown is the Global Head of Banking Technology at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. He's architecting the future of finance. From the heart of London, his vision extends across continents, impacting millions.
When I lead, I'm looking at how can I inspire others? How can I find ways to give people the chance?
Proactively building a bench of leaders to pull from.
That's how you grow the next generation of leaders.
On the flip side, it sounds good in theory, but no one bats 100.
I have to take responsibility. Learning from the setbacks is what makes people successful.
What a strong leadership perspective.
We're an international financial institution that is there to ultimately change people's lives.
What is your vision for the role that you're going to play into the next decade?
So our strategy is to
Welcome back to CEO Tech Live. I'm your host, Ben Fanning, and this episode is brought to you by Hexaware. So, what if banking technology could be a catalyst for economic transformation in some of the world's most dynamic yet challenging regions? Well, Craig Brown is making that a reality today. He's not just managing technology, he's architecting the future of finance. From the heart of London, his vision extends across continents, impacting millions. You're about to hear from Craig, the Global Head of Banking Technology at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the EBRD, with its expansive reach and recent annual investments surpass 13 billion euros and is a leader in sustainable development. So let's get ready to explore the intersection of cutting-edge technology and leadership. His insights are informative and transformative. Craig, welcome to CEO Tech Live.
Thank you, Ben. Really pleasure to be here.
So let's get this started by when's the time that maybe someone told you that you could not do something, and how'd you approach that challenge?
Okay, no, thank you, Ben. I'm going to have to go back probably sometime in my life to be able to answer that question. I'm going to go back to very early on. I started off life quite entrepreneurial. I was a paper boy at the age of 12. And with that, I kind of started to collect other paper rounds. But by the time of 14, I actually had all the paper rounds in the village. So I started off really quite entrepreneurial. But when I was at school...
Isn't that a monopoly?
It was maybe a wee bit of a monopoly. But then when I was at school, I was distracted. I didn't have focus. And actually, I didn't really apply myself academically. To the point where actually the school leader, the head teacher, took my parents aside and said, "Look, I think your son's not really fit to even sit our general maths exam." So for me, that was quite a leader saying something like that. It was actually saying, you cannot do this. It was quite hard to take. So I actually struggled through. I passed my exams. I didn't excel in anything really. And then I decided to leave school. So I was kind of drifting, not quite sure what to do. And I started working in the hospitality industry. I worked as a waiter. I worked as on a trainee management scheme in the hotel trade, but that didn't really capture my interest. It didn't really grip me. So I decided to then take another path, and I worked in retail banking. And when I worked in retail banking, that was really my aha moment. That's when I started to realize I could actually apply myself. I could apply myself academically. I started sitting my banking exams, passing them, getting A grades every time. And at that point, it was the intersection of technology was starting to become quite pervasive in the banking industry. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. But I realized actually retail banking wasn't for me either. So I went back to school. Age 23, I went back to school and I resat my exams. And I got A grades across all of the exams that I sat, which then got me a place at university. At 23, I'm then at university, and I graduated with a double first in mathematics and computing science. Can you believe that? The boy that was told he's not fit to sit a junior level exam in mathematics is then excelling in one of the highest kind of rigorous disciplines.
What shifted for you?
I think for me it was, I didn't actually realize that I could, it wasn't that I wasn't smart, but it was more, I didn't realize that I had this untapped intelligence until I was really in that retail banking concept. When I was sitting my exams, but finding something that I loved, something that I was passionate about, then sparked my interest. And once I found that focus, then I could really apply myself.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, I mean, what an incredible story. And so now you're far down the road from that experience. How does that inform how you're leading this big organization and the impact that you're looking to make?
Yeah, definitely. It's an absolutely huge impact to me. So I actually look back on that period of my life with extreme gratitude. And it's not for the successes, it's for all of those setbacks. And it's those setbacks really kind of fueled with my own determination, which has then made me realize that actually, who am I to think about what people can or cannot do? So when I lead my teams and lead as more of a role model, I'm looking at how can I inspire others? How can my story inspire them? How can I find ways to create opportunity? How can I find ways to seek out potential? How can I find ways to give people the chance? And by doing so, I never ever want to make the mistake of telling someone they can't do something. I want to ensure that I actually give them the opportunity, give them the chance to succeed. Allow them to find their aha moments as well. Because I'm not the person who can't write their future. I need to create the opportunity for them to find theirs.
So is there one person, and you can leave names out if you like, but is there one person that comes to mind where it did all come full circle?
Yeah, definitely. There's many people actually. And that's probably the most rewarding part of it. I tend to, rarely I'll recruit outside of the organization I'm within because I want to find those opportunities. I want to give people the chance. And there's many people in the organization I work with now who have been promoted into more roles, more responsibility, more experience, more opportunity as a result of me being able to kind of give them the chance. And I think what's really important is it's not that I look to promote people before they're ready. It's about providing those opportunities early to give people the breadth of experience so that when the opportunity for promotion arises, they're ready to take it. And yeah, I've got many examples of people that I'm really proud to see how they've been able to flourish as a result of finding those opportunities.
Yeah, it sounds like you're proactively building a bench of leaders to pull from, to pull into the game versus, oh wait, we are at the big game, now we need to get somebody ready.
Yeah, exactly.
You're thinking ahead.
And that's the thing, and I think following this approach of being more supportive, creating the opportunities, that's how you grow the next generation of leaders. And I think it's incumbent on me to do that.
Now, on the flip side, has this approach ever bitten you? Or you're like, wait a minute, it sounds good in theory, but no one bats 100. So how do you approach it when things are more difficult and it doesn't always pan out?
Yeah, so that's a hard one. And there's times where, look, I have to take responsibility, I have to take ultimate accountability, and things do go wrong. And there's sometimes I just have to put my chin out and take the punches, but I have to be there to be able to back my team and be able to protect them, to give them the space. Because one of the things that's important, I mean, I've got lots of examples where things have gone wrong. I've maybe given people a bit more rope than was necessary to allow them to have that freedom. But at the same time, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been given them the chance to fail and have those setbacks, because actually learning from the setbacks is what actually makes people successful as well. So it is one where it's a hard balance, it's a fine line, but one that I think is still, you've got to, I think psychological safety is something that's really, really important. And if I don't show my team that I've got their back, even when I've given them a bit more freedom and creating that opportunity, if I don't do that, then I'll lose the trust. And trust is really important when you're trying to create great leaders.
Yeah, what a strong leadership perspective. So now thinking about the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, for those listeners that aren't familiar with that, what is the mission and What is the role really that you see your organization within this providing as time continues to go on and technology becomes even more key?
Yeah. So the mission of EBRD is not one that's difficult to get behind. Our bank, we are a bank, but we're an international financial institution that is there to ultimately change people's lives. Making money is not actually our primary motivation. It's actually creating impact within the countries that we operate. Maybe just a wee bit of background. The European Bank of Reconstruction and Development was actually formed following the collapse of the Soviet Union back in 1989.
Wow.
And
okay.
there were, I think at the time, there were 61 countries got together and formed the bank to be able to help those Eastern Bloc countries move from command economies to market economies. So it's not hard to get behind the mission. And even so, when I travel to our countries of operations, I hear stories that you get in a taxi and someone will start telling you about there was a hospital that was built by EBRD investment, and it was their child that was actually helped into this world as a result of actually some of the investments that they do. The bank is, our mission is to be more green, more equal, more digital, and with that, it's about sustainability is really, really important. So the mission's, like I say, it's not hard to get behind. It's like hugely inspirational, and we're an organisation because we're owned by countries. It's the most diverse, multicultural organisation I've ever worked in, and that is such an experience as well. To sit down at lunch with your colleagues who maybe speak about 10 different languages between you, it's quite an experience and quite an amazing place to work.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And so what, from an IT perspective, what is your vision for the role that you're going to play into the next decade?
Yeah. So for me, it's about, we're going through a huge transformation program at the moment. We're pretty much transforming all of the ways in which we work across the bank. And that requires technology to change, but actually it also requires the business to change. So culturally, this is about actually how does the business transform to meet the goals for the future. So our strategy is to grow, so to increase that 13 billion investment, so increase that number, but also to move into new geographies. And we're currently moving into sub-Saharan Africa as well.
Okay.
So we have to
it says it's European, but it's global in nature and the impact that you're striving to make.
Yeah, very much. So we cover Southeast Mediterranean as well, and now moving into sub-Saharan Africa.
Wow.
So our technology has to sustain that growth, but it has to do it in a way that is provides all of our bankers with the right information at the right time. We need to have a unique user experience for the people who are using the systems, irrespective of where they are. If they're in an HQ in Canary Wharf, if they are in the local Starbucks, if they're in an airport, the user experience has to be the same. They need to have access to the data at the right time. But we need to also reinvent our operations as well. Our banking operations, our finance, our HR, the processes that we run, they have to adapt and evolve, and technology has to underpin that. We have to be able to adapt and evolve as the bank grows and evolves as well. So technology is key, and with that, just like any technology leader, you pick up lots of technical debt. There's lots of legacy applications, and all of that needs to be modernized as well. And that's a huge task. So, I mean, people talk about you're trying to service a jumbo jet engine when it's at 40,000 feet. It kind of feels a wee bit like that at EBRD.
Sometimes you're building the plane while you're flying it.
Exactly.
Is that kind of vibe?
So it's a bit like that. But actually, it's having that opportunity to be able to really change the technology and having the backing of our most senior leaders in the organization as well is hugely important. And to do it in a way that everybody wants to improve, everyone wants to involve. It's not that this is technology leading the charge. I mean, I'll give you even one anecdote. We're currently rolling out a new expense process in the bank. Culturally, it's hard to just even change how people process our expenses. But
and you're a bank.
Exactly, and you think that would be easy, but to lead from the front, our own president is part of the pilot. It's our own president is parts of the first pilot, and really leading the charge and showing that actually if we're going to be successful, we need to adopt technology, but we need to change the ways in which we work as well.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. Yeah. What a great example. I love when the leader goes first on the technology adoption.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's it been like working with Hexaware so far?
So it's been really good. We started quite small. We were working on a lot of our front-end banking. So our CRM, we use Client Dynamics for our client relationship management. Hexaware have helped us with that. Okay. We've been working on implementing Power Platform, which is a Microsoft technology. So how do we tackle low-code, no-code solutions? And actually, they've helped us at a time where we really needed them most. We do a lot of work in Ukraine, and they've been helping us with how do we gather all the information we need from the investments that we're making in Ukraine. And that's a country that's at war. So it's...
Yeah, people don't think about the challenge of that. I mean, it's...
Exactly.
Their business is going on in war-torn countries.
Yep.
And you guys are right there.
And Hexaware are beside us, helping us provide the solutions that our bankers need to be able to create the impact and create a sustainable way of investment in Ukraine while their country's currently at war. So Hexaware are helping us with that, hugely, hugely important. But actually, I mentioned earlier, we're doing a finance and HR transformation program as well. And Hexaware are really key. They are a key partner for that. This is a ERP replacement, but it is a business transformation as well. And that's huge for us. And we're right in the middle of it at the moment.
Last question. What does the rest of the world, or what can the rest of the world learn from the Scottish culture?
That's a really good one.
I got to bring that question in here.
So that's actually really, really good one. I think as a culture, we're really quite humble, and we don't necessarily shout about our successes. We kind of humbly, quietly get on and lead from the front. We're good-humoured, we'll have lots of fun, but I think there's something about that, just having that tenacity and resilience. Maybe it's something about growing up in cold, grey weather that kind of gives us that, but there's something about just being humble, having humility, but having fun, and leading from the front.
All right. Sounds like a great place to visit too.
Definitely. I would definitely recommend it, without a doubt.
I'll be there. Craig, thanks for coming on CEO Tech Live, my friend.
Thank you.